In the headlines of this hour on VTV News, Prime Minister calls for all people comprehensive digital transformation. And rainy season imposes significant safety risks. In our world news, Thailand expands investigation into Vietnamese deaths in Bangkok.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good afternoon. It is 3 p.m. local time, and you're tuning in for 30 minutes of VTV News. I'm Huyen Trân with the top stories. On Friday, Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh, chairman of the National Committee on Digital Transformation, chaired a government meeting on digital transformation with ministers, sector leaders, and the chairman of People's Committees of centrally run cities and provinces. During the meeting, delegates noted that in recent years, digital transformation in Vietnam has progressed rapidly. In 2020, Vietnam ranked 6th in the ASEAN region for digital economic growth. But by 2021, it rose to 3rd place, and in 2022 and 2023, it reached 1st place. On behalf of the government, the Prime Minister acknowledged and highly appreciated the efforts and achievements of various ministries, sectors, and localities, as well as the active participation and support of citizens and businesses. However, he also pointed out some limitations and emphasized 5 critical tasks. These include developing human resources, prioritizing resources, and building a comprehensive digital infrastructure for digital transformation. Intelligent management and operation must also be ensured, along with the urgent completion of institutions, mechanisms, and policies for digital transformation. From July 16 to 18, nearly 30 Ho Chi Minh City businesses representing Vietnamese textiles, garments, and fashion appeared at Tex World New York City 2024. This first-time participation by Vietnamese businesses at one of the world's leading textile and garment fairs has left a great impression and optimistic signals for the industry in the future.
Vietnamese garments, better choices globally, is what Vietnamese businesses presented at the fair, attracting many potential partners.
Quality of the work is amazing. I never knew they were doing so much handwork that's really done at a high level. The pricing seems to be very market competitive. I think they can do well in the United States as far as this market is concerned. But again, the surprise is that the amount of the different types of products being produced in Vietnam, and most people don't know about it.
2023 was considered the most difficult year in over 30 years of exporting for Vietnam's textile and garment industry. After the pandemic, Vietnamese businesses actively changed their methods and created sustainable products, such as fabrics made from coffee grounds or pineapple peels.
With enhanced capabilities, such as material cutting skills and green production, these efforts aim to position the Vietnamese image in the global textile supply chain.
In the first half of the year, Vietnam became the leading country in the textile and garment export market in the U.S., reaching $6 billion. To maintain this position, it's crucial to promote direct access to customers.
This is both an opportunity and a challenge for us, as competitors will also speed up exports. So we need to maintain our position and continue promoting the reputation of the Vietnamese brand and our products.
Many Vietnamese businesses participating in the fair shared that they had orders until the end of the 3rd quarter and were negotiating for the 4th quarter, the main shopping season of Christmas, Black Friday, and New Year.
The labor market in Hanoi has 31 units and enterprises participating in the recruitment or more than 1,000 positions across various fields of production and business. This also includes many reputable large enterprises. Salaries range from $197 to over 591 US dollars per month, depending on the level, job position, and work requirements. The Hanoi Employment Service Center has also connected with 6 northern provinces and cities, including Hanoi, Thái Nguyên, Bắc Giang, Bắc Ninh, Bắc Cạn, and Ninh Bình, so that businesses can expand their recruitment sources, giving workers more opportunities to apply for suitable positions. The application of science and technology in agriculture has increased Vietnam's production by 30%. This figure is modest compared to developed nations, where the contribution can exceed 50%. As a result, the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development is working to bring science and technology solutions closer to farmers and cooperatives in the agricultural sector.
Completing the technological process for producing and commercially raising black-spotted croaker fish is one of the highly applicable projects recently introduced, recognizing consumer preference for health-conscious products. Marine aquaculture is increasingly adopting advanced farming technologies to enhance product quality.
Previously, cages were only under 100 cubic meters. We have raised cages of thousands of cubic meters, contributing to increasing production at sea. We expect to further develop marine farming from 3 nautical miles near shore to 3 to 6 nautical miles.
Besides aquaculture, rice, livestock, forestry, and seed development are also among the bright spots in the application of science, technology, and innovation. 233 new varieties put into production, 192 technical advances, 82 inventions and useful solutions recognized, 224 technical standards, and 440 technical processes issued in the 2013 and 2023 period. These achievements have fostered production, processing, and business links to value chains, thereby enhancing close and modern processes.
It is necessary to invest boldly in practical research that links businesses and localities. As such, businesses can put these agricultural products directly into their processing and production.
Additionally, a better mechanisms to support businesses in accessing capital for technological innovation is expected.
We can see great competition in science and technology due to current requirements. Therefore, ministries, especially the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, need to create mechanisms and favorable conditions for public-private cooperation, facilitating research orders to support institutes and universities facing financial and technological restraints.
Fostering the application of science, technology, and innovation in aquaculture is paving the way for sustainable agricultural development in Vietnam.
Hanoi's GDP in the first 6 months of this year increased by 6%, higher than the same period last year. Facing numerous difficulties and challenges, the capital city has achieved remarkable economic development. In particular, the major features of the economy have been assured, contributing to creating room for promoting growth, mobilizing and allocating resources for investment effectively.
My Linh district has achieved a budget revenue of $71.1 million to date, reflecting a remarkable 445% year-on-year increase and surpassing the estimate by 125%. Of this amount, $53.1 million was generated from auctioning land use rights. The district achieved this by establishing a land fund with decent infrastructure, applying market prices, and ensuring transparent land auctions.
We have also consulted with the commune's departments and organizations, because these projects directly link to the people's interests. As such, people's opinions are important. The public consultation also shows that the number of people participating in the auction is higher than that of 2023.
Thanks to the city's decentralization, the district is determined to fulfill the set plan. This will be a breakthrough for the district. This year, My Linh is striving for the first time to collect nearly $79 million in budget revenue.
Hanoi's total budget revenue has increased by 12.5% over the same period. Additionally, FDI capital inflows into the city have reached $1.165 billion, with 120 new projects securing investments totaling $1.036 billion. Hanoi remains a compelling destination for international capital flows.
Hanoi City has issued a decision to introduce 39 projects aimed at attracting both domestic and international investors. This initiative will provide the capital with opportunities to welcome new investment inflows.
In the second half of the year, Hanoi will exert efforts to achieve the growth target of 6.5 to 7%. In particular, the capital city will further create new growth drivers, control inflation, restructure the economy in an effective and practical manner.
A low-pressure area over the eastern waters of the Central East Sea intensified into a tropical depression on Friday morning. The forecast for the next 24 hours indicates the tropical depression will move northwest at a speed of 10 kilometers per hour. By 7 a.m. Saturday, the center of the tropical depression will be over the eastern waters of the northern and central East Sea. Intensity will reach level 6, with gusts reaching a level 9. And in the following 24 to 48 hours, the tropical depression is expected to move west-northwest at a speed of 10 to 15 kilometers per hour. And by 7 a.m. on July 21st, the center of the tropical depression will be over the northeastern waters of the Hoàng archipelago, with intensity growing to levels 6 to 7 and gusts reaching level 9. A warning has outlined dangerous areas in the East Sea in the next 24 hours, from latitudes 13 to 17 degrees north and longitude 115 to 119.5 degrees east. Heavy rains in the northern mountainous provinces are causing water levels to rise in main rivers like the Lo and Gum rivers. The strong flow increases the risk of landslides and raises reservoir storage to an alarming level. This is especially concerning in critical areas where old dams are damaged and still need repairs, as incidents can happen at any time.
In just over a month, a landslide has swept away more than 200 square meters of corn cultivation land. Up to now, Thuong is still in shock. Strong water flowing from upstream in Hà Giang is believed to be the cause.
People's lives here depend a lot on these lands. So when land is swept away, we don't know how to make it up to farmers. They're all sad and anxious.
This year, landslides caused several hectares of land to disappear. In the long term, this will greatly affect people's land.
In Son Giang district, recent landslides have put dikes at high risk because most of them were built decades ago and have severely degraded. In addition, recent prolonged heavy rain has caused Tuyên Quang and Hòa Bình hydropower plants to open their gates to discharge water. Currently, all the reservoirs in northern mountainous provinces are at high risk of incidents.
After detecting 37 unsafe projects, we proposed to the authorities that they allocate $12.6 million to handle 17 projects.
For small and medium reservoirs and those under construction, if they are assessed as unsafe, we must limit water storage or stop storing water.
Vietnam currently has more than 6,700 dams, with over 1,000 of them deteriorating. More rain, storms and floods are coming, mainly affecting the northern and central mountainous areas. Although there is no funding for repairs, regular maintenance is necessary at this time.
Now, before we move on to other important updates, let's take a look at the foreign exchange rates of today, July 19th. Coming up next on VTV News. Solutions to support users during a 2G signal deactivation. And strengthening communication between mainland and islands. Moving on to other news, the 3G network in Vietnam is expected to be shut down by September 2028 to allocate resources for new technologies. The The Telecommunications Department of the Ministry of Information and Communications stated that apart from Viettel, which has already discontinued 3G, other carriers like VTV4 and Mobifone will cease 3G services in areas where 3G traffic and subscribers are no longer present, but will still maintain the technology. The long transition period until 2028 will allow users and carriers to switch to 4G technology. Vietnam currently has more than 11 million 2G subscribers, accounting for about 9% of total mobile subscribers nationwide. By September this year, the country will no longer provide services to devices that only support 2G. This information was announced at a recent seminar organized by the Ministry of Information and Communications on Thursday morning in Hanoi.
According to telecommunications businesses, the number of 2G phone subscribers by September this year will decrease to zero or account for less than 5% of total subscribers. Currently, network operators are focusing on two directions to support users when 2G signals are stopped, which are installing new terminal devices and providing usage fee support so that users can proactively switch to using smartphones.
We hope to have financial support from the Public Telecommunications Fund to increase resources to support customers, as customers using 2G-only services mostly live in remote areas with limited economic resources.
To promote the process of turning off 2G signals, the Ministry of Information and Communications is developing a decree to guide the telecommunications law and provide support through the Public Telecommunications Fund.
We request that the ministry work with the People's Committees of provinces and cities to develop communication plans and propose the use of appropriate funds to support users.
The Ministry of Information and Communications will continue to urge businesses to protect consumer rights, such as by informing each subscriber and providing more terminal support for users in special circumstances, like the elderly, low-income workers, or those living in remote areas.
The Navy Command held a conference to summarize the 5-year coordination program for sea and island dissemination from 2019 to 2024. To date, the Navy Command has signed coordination programs with all 63 provinces, cities, and 16 central agencies. The news agencies and the Navy have worked together to promote many events, particularly in the struggle to protect sea and island sovereignty, the outstanding achievements of the Vietnam People's Navy, and activities related to defense diplomacy, rescue, and disasters relief. These efforts have created a significant social impact across various population groups. Through these dissemination efforts, public awareness of the sea and islands has been raised, contributing significantly to the Navy's mission of building an all-people defense posture and firmly protecting the nation's maritime sovereignty. In recent years, information about Vietnam's seas and islands has been widely shared through various channels, reaching a broad audience both domestically and internationally. This is largely due to the collaborative efforts of the Navy, 63 provinces and cities, and 16 central agencies in implementing the Island and Sea Coordination Program. These efforts also convey the love and support of mainland people to soldiers, aiding them in their sacred duty of safeguarding national outposts.
This is a trip to Cheong Sa for overseas Vietnamese from 17 countries and territories. After many years away from their homeland, they are overwhelmed with emotions as they return to the motherland and see its sacred seas and islands.
Stepping onto the wharf, I was deeply moved. I felt a surge of compassion for the soldiers here. They've managed to grow such lovely greenery despite being amidst the vast seas.
Each overseas Vietnamese serves as an ambassador to spread the love and spirit of Cheong Sa to the Vietnamese and international communities.
From the sea, a surge of affection returns, and from the mainland, a wave of love and practical gifts reaches the islands. Telecommunications infrastructure began development with the first Viettel communication stations in 2007. Today, telecommunications coverage spans all 33 islands in the archipelago, enabling officers, soldiers, and islanders to stay connected with the mainland. Since September of last year, 4G coverage has also been tested on 2 major islands.
The lives of officers and soldiers on islands continue to face several difficulties. We are immensely proud to have contributed to making these remote islands feel closer to the mainland.
Over the past 5 years, numerous artistic and political commentary programs about the Cheung Sa archipelago have been organized to strengthen the understanding and bond between the mainland and the islands.
Programs like Greening Cheung Sa are being implemented with great practical significance. These resources will lay the foundation for future large-scale, modern and convenient economic and social centers at sea, contributing significantly to our nation's strength and prosperity from the sea.
Moving forward, the Navy will continue fostering patriotism and love for the sea and islands. Their main goal is to develop the Cheung Sa archipelago into a national maritime economic, cultural, and social hub, a steadfast bastion, and a driving force for the nation's development.
Coral reefs worldwide are undergoing a 4th recorded mass bleaching event due to the climate crisis pushing ocean temperatures to unprecedented levels. The southern waters of Vietnam, particularly at the Con Đảo archipelago, have been severely impacted. In the past 2 months, approximately 800 hectares of coral in Con Đảo have been bleached, with some areas experiencing up to a 70% bleaching rate. Con Đảo National Park and researchers are urgently assessing the impact of this phenomenon on the marine ecosystem.
2 years ago, Jürgen, an Austrian tourist, visited Con Đảo archipelago and was deeply impressed by its rich and diverse coral ecosystem. Returning to the island this summer and witnessing the mass bleaching of the coral reefs, Jürgen feels profoundly saddened.
Compared to the last time I've been to Con Đảo 2 years ago, and now a lot of coral has bleached. It became white, so the coral reef changed a lot, and I'm quite worried about that.
Most porites, fungiidae, and porididae corals in these areas are completely bleached and at high risk of dying. Polypora corals mostly have bleached branches, but retain some algae on their cores. Bleaching occurs at depths of 3 to 15 meters. High sea temperatures over 30 degrees Celsius cause symbiotic algae to leave, leading to coral bleaching and increased mortality risk.
The Con Đảo archipelago has experienced extensive coral bleaching. Our investigation identified 8 points of concern. On the east side of the main island, bleaching rates range from 80% to 100%, while in the southwest, they range from 60% to 70%.
Corals can survive a bleaching event if the surrounding waters cool down, the algae return, and the environment remains free of debris. Consequently, Con Đảo National Park promptly implemented temporary measures, such as cleaning up trash on the seabed and reducing tourism activities.
Currently, the coral is in the recovery stage, and Con Đảo National Park will suspend coral diving services until the end of September. In areas where the coral is bleached and dead, we will propose solutions for planting and restoration.
The coral reefs at the bottom of the Con Đảo archipelago provide an ideal environment for turtles to nourish their fetuses. Each year, this area welcomes many migrating sea turtles that come to lay eggs. The loss of these coral reefs means losing vital aquatic resources and breeding habitats for sea turtles. Coastal fisheries will face unprecedented difficulties without these breeding areas for marine species. At the end of July, scientists will reassess the ability of Con Đảo coral reefs to recover after bleaching. Any areas that cannot recover will be proposed for propagation and retransplantation.
Coming up next in our world news. Thailand expands investigation into Vietnamese deaths in Bangkok. And rising Russia-NATO tensions in the Black Sea. Moving on to our world news. Thai police have expanded their investigation into the deaths of Vietnamese citizens in Bangkok. They are looking into the source of the cyanide used to kill 4 Vietnamese nationals and 2 Vietnamese Americans at a hotel in Bangkok earlier this week. According to the commander of the Metropolitan Police Bureau, police are investigating whether the cyanide was smuggled into the country or bought locally. Police are awaiting the results of all forensic tests before deciding whether to call anyone in for further questioning. They are also trying to contact the younger sister of one of the 6 victims who left for Vietnam on July 10th. Meanwhile, Chulalongkorn Hospital noted that it has completed the autopsy of the 6th deceased. If the police do not request further information, the relatives will be allowed to collect the bodies. Former U.S. President Donald Trump formally accepted the Republican Party's 2024 nomination for president on Thursday. In his closing speech at the Republican National Convention, Donald Trump called for unity and the healing of the discord and division in U.S. society. Trump also pledged to boost economic growth, complete the U.S.-Mexico border wall, and end all global crises, including the conflict in Ukraine, if he is elected U.S. president in November. Donald Trump has chosen J.D. Vance of Ohio as his running mate in this year's White House race. Moscow views the increased presence of North Atlantic Treaty Organization or NATO forces in the Black Sea as a threat and will take all necessary measures to ensure security, according to Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov on Thursday. He stated that the concentrated presence of NATO ships poses an additional threat to the Russian Federation, especially considering the direct involvement of NATO states in the conflict around Ukraine. Peskov's comments came following Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's latest decree on a new maritime security strategy. The decree outlines Kiev's strategy for ensuring security in the Black Sea and contains measures aimed at strengthening Ukraine's naval forces, including the permanent presence of NATO forces in the Black Sea. Now let's take a look at the weather forecast. And that's all the news we have for this hour. To rewatch our program, you can download our mobile app VTVgo or check out our YouTube channel VTV4Go. Thank you for watching and see you next time.